and welcome back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the Gentleman.
On these next few episodes, we're going to be finishing up our series of some of the more disturbing and odd conspiracy theories. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about the 27 Club. So the 27 Club is basically kind of this conspiracy theory cultural myth that basically theorizes that famous musicians and celebrities, or even royalties in some cases, are highly likely to die at the age of 27. So the myth sort of originated in the late 1960s with the death of Brian Jones in 1969, and then it gained ground with the deaths of Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin in 1970, and the death of Jim Morrison in 1971, who were all, of course, 27 years old when they died. Now, because all these high-profile deaths all occurred in like really quick succession, one in 1969, two in 1970, one in 1971, it caused a lot of controversy and theories, as all the deaths, of course, again, when the victims were all 27 years old. So the theories also continue to grow due to the ways the supposed members of the club perished. A lot of them died in not natural circumstances, I guess we should say. But then again, a lot of 27-year-olds probably would not die of natural causes.
Yeah,
so it includes like homicide, ending their own lives, drug and alcohol abuse, overdoses, in other words, transportation-related accidents like car crashes and things like that. So there's also an offshoot of this theory that's known as the white lighter myth or the white lighter curse. Now, this myth claims that several members of the 27 Club died while in possession of a white disposable lighter, and this led the item to be linked to bad fortune. So now, a lot of the people they said that died with this were like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and some of those. Now, Snopes discredited that theory in a 2017 article when they noted that the Bic did not begin producing white disposable lighters until 1973, which would have been after the deaths of several of the club's prominent members. So, anyway. So, as stated earlier, Brian Jones, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Jim Morrison all died at the age of 27 between 1969 and 1971. However, it wasn't until Kurt Cobain took his own life in 1994 that the idea of the club really started taking root. And this was also claimed to be due to Cobain's mother, Wendy, being quoted in several publications as saying, "Now he's gone and joined that stupid club. I told him not to join that stupid club." So this led many journalists to interpret the meaning of her words as referring to the 27 Club. However, the actual meaning has been disputed as having a different meaning than that. Author of the 27s, The Greatest Myth of Rock and Roll, Eric Segelstad, asserts that what she was really referring to was the fact that two of Cobain's uncles and one of his great-uncles had taken their lives. He had joined that club.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But, other people say that she was talking about that, and, I don't know. So it was further disputed that he had timed his death to join the club by statements that Cobain had nearly died from several drug overdoses in the year before his death, and that he had also made several attempts to end his life at various ages over the course of his life, so it didn't have anything to do with that. So, in 2011, 17 years after the death of Cobain, singer Amy Winehouse, also died at the age of 27, which prompted a renewed swell of media attention devoted to the 27 Club. And 3 years later, her personal assistant, Alex Haynes, told the British press that when she was 25, that she had feared that she would join others who had died at the age of 27. He is quoted as saying, "She reckoned she would join the 27 Club of rock stars that died at that age. She told me, I have a feeling I'm going to die young." So in popular culture, we're going to talk a little bit about how it's represented. So the club often appears by name or reference in a lot of popular culture and mass media. The song 27 by Fall Out Boy is a reference to the club. The lyrics explore the hedonistic lifestyles common in rock and roll, and Pete Wentz, who wrote the song, says he wrote it because he felt that he was living a similarly dangerous lifestyle as many of the members of the club. John Craig's song 28 is written from the perspective of the club's members, and it contemplates their respective morality and imagines what they would have done differently if they've only made it to 28. So, Magenta's studio album, The 27 Club, directly references the club, and each track is a tribute to a different member of the club. Now, there's a lot of members, and we'll go over some of them here in a bit. Mac Miller's song, Brand Name, features a line that says, "To everyone who sold me drugs, don't mix it with that bullshit. I'm hoping not to join the 27 Club." He then died 2 years later, ironically at the age of 26, from a drug overdose when he took counterfeit oxycodone that had been mixed with the highly dangerous fentanyl. And another sort of media reference to it is in the indie game, or not the indie game, I'm sorry, the video game Hitman. And in one of the in-game missions is entitled Club 27, which involves having to kill an indie musician who is celebrating his 27th birthday. So.
I actually played a bit of Hitman.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about some of the supposed members. Now, there are a lot of members. Now, I'm going to go over several of them just to show you how far back this actually supposedly goes and how many people who have ironically died at the age of 27 from different causes that are like celebrities, royalty, musicians, and things like that. So the first one we'll talk about is Charles VIII of France, who was the king of France from 1483 to 1498, and he died of complications from minor traumatic brain injuries. Alfonso XII, who was the king of Spain from 1874 to 1885, he died from dysentery. Alexandre Levy is a composer, pianist, and conductor who also passed away. Louis Chiffon, who was a ragtime musician, died from neurosyphilis at the age of 27. George Tracky was a poet who died from an overdose. Rupert Brooke, a poet who died from sepsis. Robert Johnson, who was a blues singer and musician, but his death is unknown, or why he died, rather. The Ghazi of Iraq, who was the king of Iraq from 1933 to 1939, died from a traffic accident, which was thought to be murder. Nat Jaff, a swing and jazz pianist, died from complications of high blood pressure. Jesse Belvin, an R&B singer, pianist, songwriter, died in a car crash, though foul play was suspected. Rudy Lewis, a vocalist of the Drifters, died of a drug overdose. John Henderson, who was an R&B and gospel singer, died of a heart attack. Rockin' Robin Roberts, a vocalist for the famous Wallers, he also died in a car crash. Malcolm Hale, lead guitarist of Spanky and Our Gang, died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Dickie Pride, who was a rock and roll singer, died of a drug overdose. Brian Jones, who was the founding member of the Rolling Stones, he died from drowning. Alexandra, a German singer, she died in a car crash. Rhea Bartok, a singer who died in a fire. Alan Blind Owl Wilson was a singer and primary composer of Canned Heat. He died of a drug overdose. Jimi Hendrix, of course, a guitarist, singer, and songwriter, died of asphyxia due to a drug overdose. Janis Joplin, lead vocalist and songwriter, Big Brother and the Holding Company, the Cosmic Blues, and the Full Tilt Boogie Band, also died of a drug overdose. Arlester Dyke Christian, frontman, vocalist, and bassist of Dyke and the Blazers, was shot and killed. Jim Morrison, singer and songwriter for The Doors, died of heart failure. Pamela Corson, who was his longtime companion and the heir to his estate, also died of a drug overdose at 27 as well, ironically enough. Lisa Harvey, a guitarist in several Scottish bands, died of electrocution. Ron Pigpen McKernan, founding member, keyboardist, and singer of the Grateful Dead. Dave Alexander, who was a bassist of the Stooges, died of pulmonary edema due to alcohol abuse. Pete Ham, singer, songwriter, keyboardist, and guitarist for the band Badfinger, took his own life. Jacob Miller, lead singer of Inner Circle, died in a car crash. Dee Boone, guitarist and lead singer of the punk band Minutemen, died in a car crash. Chris Austin was a country singer, guitarist, and fiddler for Reba McEntire. He died in a plane crash. Kurt Cobain, who was, of course, a founding member, lead singer, guitarist, and songwriter for Nirvana, he died by taking his own life. And then Amy Winehouse, singer and songwriter, she died from alcohol poisoning. Now, all of them died at 27, and there's a bunch more that I could have listed. So it is kind of weird.
It is.
Now, does it have any scientific bearing? No. It's been said no. But What do you think? Is there any relevance to the theory that famous people are more likely to die at 27?
I mean, personally, willing to bet that some of them that took their own lives kind of had that in their mind as well
Possibly.
when they were planning it.
They could have. You never know. Some of them could have, and some of it could just have been a coincidence. They just happened to be 27. I mean, they may not even knew anything. I mean, I don't know, how popular it is with everyone knowing. I mean, a lot of people have heard of it. Some people haven't.
Yeah.
So
right.
what's y'all's opinion? Anybody, we'd love to hear what you think. Do you think that there's any relevance to this? Do you think that the 27 is doomed for certain musicians and celebrities and people who are, well known? Is there anything to it? What do you think? Leave us a comment. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay disturbed.